I want to talk about Mass Effect returning in a big way. And no, we're not going to be talking about the garbage that is Mass Effect Andromeda. We're going to be talking about the Mass Effect Legendary Edition and why I don't think you should sleep on it. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, why do you even need to make a video about this? Everybody loves Mass Effect. Well, hate to break it to you, but Mass Effect 1 is over 10 years old, and Mass Effect 3 is almost 10 years old at this point. So yeah, feel old yet? Yeesh, right? And I think that actually adds to the justification for re-releasing all three games in one package with upgraded bells and whistles for modern hardware. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about why you shouldn't sleep on Mass Effect, especially the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. But let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is a little game called Cyberpunk, actually. Remember when CD Projekt Red promised you this vast world with tons of dialogue options and the ability to have tons of branching paths and interact with tons of characters, go on tons of fun quests, and the whole thing kind of went to shit? Well, if you are disappointed with Cyberpunk, I got good news for you. Pick up the Mass Effect Legendary Collection. You'll be happy. This is the best RPG iteration I've seen with voice acting, and what I mean by that is there's some really good RPG in Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and I think a lot of that works because there's no voice acting. The ability for you to just go on these crazy adventures and have these crazy dialogue options is kind of contingent on them being able to actually record all the damn stuff. And I think Mass Effect is the only game that has successfully really pulled off this much voice acting in an RPG and still make you feel like you're in full control and have full player agency over your character. This is really successful. Maybe Witcher 3 is also up there, but this is 3 games that will take you dozens and dozens of hours to beat, where you'll explore tons of worlds, interact with tons of characters with extremely deep lore. The main story is great. The side quests are great. The characters are great. You can romance them, suck and fuck, do whatever you want. This is a really strong Western RPG with really good stories, and I really think that it's worth every penny. So what do you get with this Legendary Edition package? Well, you're getting Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, fuck that Andromeda shit, and you're getting all of the DLC except for 1, which unfortunately was corrupted during PlayStation 3 development for Mass Effect 1. Not to worry, there are dozens of other DLCs being added to this game from across the 3 games. I do want to talk about the graphics though. It's not a full remake of the game, but it is a significant overhaul of the pre-existing graphics in the game. Basically, they had AI run through a lot of it, and then they had humans go in and do some extra touching up. And on the higher end, more expensive consoles, you're going to be running this at 4K 60 frames per second. So yeah, we're hitting the max resolution, really high frame rates with really nice visuals, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing in the visuals. It really does look like kind of the best of both worlds between a remake and kind of a cheap one and done upscale type of thing, because this is 3 games, guys. Let's be real. We're getting 3 games. It would have been a lot to do a full remake. I mean, look at the Final Fantasy VII remake. They are what, 10% done with that project, and yeah, I think this was the best way to do it, and I think it's looking great. Speaking of assets, they are cutting some of those gratuitous butt shots, thank God. But don't worry, still tons of romancing that you can do in this game. I do want to take a look at each individual game, namely Mass Effect 1 and 3 and the changes in there. Mass Effect 1 is the game that even on launch, people were talking about how a lot of great ideas, really good story, worth playing, but some of the gameplay wasn't holding up as well. And a lot of that had to do with controls, wonky stuff, not very clear stuff. Well, they've retooled the inventory system so it shouldn't be as obtuse and confusing. They reduced some of the aiming penalties depending on your class and the weapon that you were using. It was embarrassing to aim, frankly. And across all games, they've upgraded the squad AI, and they've made a more consistent user interface across all 3 games, which is nice. And then for Mass Effect 3, you need something called Galactic Readiness to complete the game with all the desired endings. You need a certain amount of Galactic Readiness. They've tweaked that so that it doesn't need to be as high. They've revised the ending to the canon ending. is the ending that they used in the DLC. If you guys are too young, don't remember, whatever, well, we the gamers, with a capital G, actually petitioned BioWare to make a new ending for Mass Effect 3 because the original was so damn bad. I actually like the original ending, whatever. The revised ending is the canon ending, and there's no multiplayer for Mass Effect 3. Part of the reason why they had to tweak the galactic readiness. I personally liked the multiplayer, but trust me, it's a single player game. You're not missing much. The two things I wish we did have, though, are a Switch port and that there's no ray tracing. A Switch port would have been absolutely amazing. I really was hoping that we were going to get this on Switch, even without all of the improved lighting and textures and stuff. Just, 30 frames per second, 720p, 1080p, Mass Effect experience would have been amazing. Looks like we're not getting that anytime soon, if ever, which really sucks in my opinion. And we're not getting any ray tracing with this game. But, like I said, I think it's worth it. They were going to have to move all 3 games into a new engine. I think we're getting kind of a good deal here with the improved lighting and textures instead of this thing blowing out into 3 full-priced remakes. I think this is the right call. Either way, the improved lighting does look good. So anyways, yeah, that's it for Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I think it's a great set of 3 games. So let me know if you're planning on picking it up. And otherwise, I will catch you guys next time.